Time Machine, Chaos 2, Mateo's, Echo. After the events of the first story, after the sacrifice, after the destruction of the time machine, after Mateo Alvarez vanished from existence, Sofia Valdez returned to her own timeline with a heart heavier than ever. She had watched, with her own eyes, the man who tried to fix time itself, the man who gave up everything to save the universe from the chaos he accidentally unleashed. But peace didn't last. A few days later, the first time ripples appeared. Small glitches at first, tiny distortions, flickers, vanished memories. Then they grew stronger, dangerous, reality bending like broken glass. And with every new ripple came a voice Sofia knew better than her own heartbeat. Mateo's, faint, distorted, echoing from somewhere that didn't belong to any past, any present, or any future, a place outside time itself. Even though she believed Mateo had been erased from existence, something inside her whispered, "He's not gone, he's trapped." The old notebook she found at the end of the first story suddenly changed. New pages appeared, pages written in handwriting that looked like Mateo's. But the letters shifted, twisted, rearranged themselves as if time itself was rewriting the message. Sofia discovered the truth. Destroying the machine didn't erase Mateo's energy. It tore open a crack into the temporal abyss, a dark void where time throws its mistakes, a place outside all reality. And there, what's left of Mateo survives, a broken memory, a splintered consciousness, a shadow of the man he used to be. He isn't alone. Creatures live in the abyss, things that have never seen light, known as the Void Keepers, beings born from chaos. And now, they sense a pathway to escape into the human world. The worst part? They've started using Mateo's voice as bait, a trap to lure someone into opening the door. Sofia now faces the hardest choice of her life: save Mateo and risk tearing open the wound he died to close, or leave him in the abyss, preserving the timeline, knowing she's condemning him to eternal nothingness. With each new time ripple, the pain grows, and the truth becomes clearer. The abyss is expanding. If Sofia doesn't stop it, reality will collapse. Finally, she returns to the exact place where the machine was destroyed. A glowing circle forms in the air, and inside it, a silhouette, a hand reaching out, a shape that looks exactly like Mateo. But is it really him, or just another trap crafted by the creatures of the abyss? The second chapter ends here, on a cliffhanger that shakes the mind and breaks the heart. Not everyone who disappears is truly gone, and some voices from the past aren't calling for help. They're calling you into the dark. Time Machine, Chaos 2, Part 2, The Moment the Light Breathed. The light in front of Sofia wasn't just a flash. It was a pulse, as if time itself was breathing and running out of breath. Sofia stood frozen on the outside, shattered on the inside. The glowing time circle in front of her expanded slowly, opening like a door that was never meant to be opened. And inside that impossible doorway, he stood, Mateo, or something that wore his shape. His figure flickered, blurred lines of light and shadow, as if someone had sketched him into existence with trembling hands. His eyes weren't the eyes of a man anymore. They were the eyes of someone who had seen every era, every second, all at once, and broken under the weight of it. His voice came out cracked, layered with echoes from different centuries, overlapping into one. "Sofia, don't come closer." The words hit her like a blade. Not fear, pain, because the voice was his, completely, tragically his. She wanted to run to him, to grab him, to tear that barrier apart and drag him back into her world. But the ground around the circle began to crack open, as if reality itself was trying to stop her. She managed to whisper, "Mateo, are you alive?" He shook his head slowly. Yes. No. Yes. Like someone who no longer knew the answer. Then he said the words that broke her. "I'm not whole." And that's when they appeared. The Abyss Keepers. The exiled creatures of time. Black mist shaped like limbs. Faces without features. A living darkness that moved with purpose. They surrounded him, wrapped around him, pulling him back toward the hell he'd escaped from. One of them extended a shadowy arm toward him and touched his shoulder. Mateo's scream wasn't human. It was the sound of a timeline dying. Sofia snapped, "Stop! Let him go!" The time circle answered with a violent burst of light, knocking her backward and slamming her into the ground. When she lifted her head, she saw the truth she wasn't ready for. Mateo was reaching out to her, not begging, not terrified, but asking. A final request. "Close the gate, even if I'm still inside." The tear rolled down her face before the meaning even landed. She wanted to refuse, to scream, to break reality open if that's what it took. But time had already done the math, and the equation was cruel. If the gate stayed open, the world would collapse. If it closed, Mateo would vanish forever. This time without even an echo. The keepers whispered into her mind, tempting, lying. "Leave him. Time will restore him. Open the way. We can fix what is broken." But Sofia wasn't foolish enough to trust creatures born from chaos. She stood, slowly, broken, bleeding, but determined, like someone fighting their final war. Mateo smiled. A small, weak, but genuine smile. "I'm sorry for everything." And Sofia answered with the only truth left. "You saved time. Now it's my turn." She raised the control device. One command, one press. The time circle began to collapse. Mateo was dragged backward. The keepers fought. The light intensified. The air screamed. And the entire timeline shuddered. And in the final instant, just before he disappeared, Mateo whispered, "Sofia, don't trust any of the guardians. Time isn't what we think." Then he was gone. The gate sealed with a final soft pulse. As if time whispered, "Complete." Silence followed. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of something new awakening. Sofia stood there, breath trembling, eyes full of something deeper than grief. Not just loss, not just anger, but doubt. For the first time, one question filled her mind. Was Mateo a victim? Or did he know a secret bigger than all of them? And so begins a new journey, a darker one, into the hidden world of time. A world that decides who lives and who is erased. Time Machine, Chaos 2. Part 3. Pulse of the Lost Months had passed since Mateo vanished into the temporal abyss. Months since Sofia closed the gate and saved the world. Yet her heart never moved past one moment, his final look and his warning. Don't trust the guardians. Time settled. Reality stabilized. But Sofia didn't. She kept feeling a faint pulse, a soft wave passing through the world every now and then. No one else sensed it, only her, as if a piece of Mateo was still trying to reach her. The guardians dismissed it, urged her to let the past fade. But Sofia knew better. Something was wrong. One quiet night, while reviewing Mateo's fragmented notebook, she noticed something tiny, something she had missed for months. A small mark in the margin. Just a short line, almost like a musical note. A single beat, a pulse. Her breath caught. She recognized it instantly. That symbol existed in Mateo's old time sync device. He used it in his temporal resonance experiments, an attempt to find a stable frequency, a place in time where a lost individual could re-anchor their existence. And the most shocking part? The symbol wasn't written in Mateo's handwriting. It appeared on its own, like the mysterious pages time itself had created. It was a message from the fragment of him trapped beyond reality. I'm not dead. I'm stuck. But I can return if I find the right frequency. Sofia fired up her old sync device, primitive but functional. She hunted for the pulse she kept feeling. On the first reading, a voice emerged from the static, not human, but a trembling echo of time. Sofia, her eyes filled, not with grief this time, but hope. The final journey, the pulse gate. The search took months. She crossed shattered timelines, confronted guardians who had abandoned their oath, fought creatures from the abyss desperate to steal a stable identity, and nearly died more than once. But she finally found it. A nowhere place between eras, a dead zone of time. Inside it, one faint pulse repeated every 61 seconds. The room was dark, silent, and at its center, a thin line of light, a heartbeat, Mateo's frequency. To pull him out, Sofia needed one thing, a matching pulse, a temporal sync between the heartbeat of a living human and the heartbeat of a soul trapped in time. Then she understood. The key wasn't the machine, it wasn't the science, it was her. One pulse equals one life. She placed the device over her chest, pressed sync, and let her heartbeat transform into waves of light. The darkness cracked, the timeline trembled, the pulse responded. And then he appeared. Not a shadow, not an echo, not a broken remnant. Mateo, whole, human, exhausted, alive. He stood there, stunned, breathing like someone taking his first breath after drowning. Sofia didn't speak, neither did he. They simply moved, one step from him, one from her, and met in a long, warm, trembling embrace. Two survivors of a war with time itself. Their hearts synced. The equation was complete. When they opened their eyes, they stood in a stable timeline, a calm, bright future, a place without fractures, without monsters, without fear, a place they could finally exist together. The final scene. They sat on a green hillside, the sky wide and clear, the world finally still. Mateo held her hand and whispered, "You didn't just save me from time. You saved me from myself." Sofia smiled through her tears. "And I found my true time, the moment I found you." Imagine the camera rising, pulling away from them, the soft pulse continuing in the background. A final reminder that even in a world that can collapse at any second, some moments are worth every sacrifice. Not all equations are solved with numbers. Some doors open only with the heart.